Good morning, young ladies and young gentlemen out there. Welcome to Pass It On. I'm your co-host or your host, Andre Quattlebaum, better known as Coach Q. Today I assemble quality students to have a student forum and type of engagement conversation to tackle a lot of different discussions that I believe these young ladies and young gentlemen will be more than willing to speak adamantly about their positions. So we'd like to welcome you guys to the student forum. Moving from my left to my right, Ayana, Aralalua, Alexis, Jaleel, Armani, Jalen, I'm sorry, Jalen, Giante, and Jada. Okay, welcome to Pass It On, friends. As adolescents spend less time with family, peer groups become more tightly knit into cliques. Mixed sex cliques provide boys and girls with models of how to interact and a chance to do so without being intimate. So today on Pass It On, I brought you guys together as a diversified group of North County students who will engage and explore emotional and social topics from their perspective. So let's get started. I gave you guys a list of questions about a week ago, so you guys can check your questions out and see which was most popular that you actually wanted to have a conversation about. So we're going to start with question 1. Should students be able to evaluate their teachers? I don't know who wants to begin, so let's start with Giante.
Okay, well, yes, I actually do think students should be able to evaluate their teachers because, like every job, it deserves to have feedback. Because even though teachers do go through years of training and experience, they still deserve at least a say from their students or like administration. You know, I used to work at Taco Bell and we had surveys all the time from customers. So why not teachers get evaluated from their students?
Does anyone else have a different of opinion, or somebody want to chime in along with what he's saying?
I can agree. Based on my personal experiences, I feel that it would be good if teachers kind of knew how students were feeling. If we were to talk to our teachers, then they could possibly be they're already good teachers, but be better teachers so that we can better ourselves in the learning environment.
Okay, anybody else?
If teachers got feedback from their students, they could be better, as Jalen said, but also teachers evaluate teachers all the time. But a teacher can evaluate a teacher and they'll say, oh, they're good, but it's better if it comes from the student who the teacher's actually teaching.
Okay, anybody else?
Teachers oftentimes evaluate students, and we're often looked at as like the bad children or whatever, but it's more like we need to allow the students to speak out more, because if we're young and we're not able to speak out or be able to say that this adult is out of line or something like that, so it's more given the opportunity for everyone to have a voice.
Okay, I from my perspective, I don't really know whether this is right or wrong. I always look at it, if a child is hesitant, or a student, should I say, is hesitant in getting to that classroom, or there's a reason why they don't want to go to the classroom, to me that's a telltale sign about the teacher itself. I don't know whether that's true or not, because I always say if you're enthusiastic about getting to your class, that means there's something that their teacher is making you want to be enthusiastic to get to that class in comparison to being hesitant. I don't know whether that's a good assessment to say whether that teacher should be evaluated as being good or not. That's just my perspective. Does anyone have an opinion on that?
I think, you're right about that, because if your classroom is like open and like exciting and it's things new, you're going to drive more students to want to come to your class. But you're just standing in front of a board clicking through a PowerPoint, that's not really going to drive more students to choose your class, to even want to be like taught by you.
So as when you guys decide on the classes that you want to take, are you getting feedback from your peers on whether that teacher is a good teacher or not, in comparison to whether you decide whether you want to take that class or not? So
It's the first thing you do.
Okay. So talk to your peers.
Yeah.
So you actually are somewhat judging a book before it's covered.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, in that sense, but it's good also to have.
Feel for the teacher.
Say it again.
You have to get a feel for the teacher before you actually go into your class, because like some people don't get along with other personalities.
Okay, so if you take something that Alexis may say about a teacher, and you don't have that experience with that teacher, but you're taking Alexis' opinion on that teacher, how is that helping you if that's the mindset that you take that approach on?
You kind of have to test the waters It's like you can't just automatically think that a teacher is terrible just because Alexis might have a different perspective about the teacher, because not everybody thinks the same about different teachers.
Okay. So we are in unison that when you guys are deciding to choose your class, you are getting feedback from your peers first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's unanimous, and that's something that most the population in our school does. Okay, do we need to move further, or should we stay on this particular topic of should students evaluate their teachers?
Move further.
Okay. The next question at hand seems to be a popular question. How would you feel about a computer grading your essay?
Yeah, I wouldn't like a computer grading my essay only because you really can't get constructive criticism back on like.
To piggyback off of what Ayana said, so yeah, a computer, that's kind of like a right, wrong answer. They may be looking for keywords and stuff, but if a teacher, they're able to interpret what you're saying, really pick up with context clues and whatnot, and a computer may not be able to give you that necessary feedback. So yeah, I agree with the teacher rather than the computer.
Some teachers also have different writing styles, and so they may be looking for something else, whereas another teacher might be looking for another thing.
Right.
So students can, when they're writing their essays, they write it based on what they know, so the teachers can understand it.
Right.
Versus like if you're doing it on a computer, you're gonna get confused, and yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah.
This is a forum. That's why we're just going to explore and engage, friends. Keep going.
So I take a class online. It's like Foundation of College Algebra, where like we basically do our work on the computer. So when I put in an answer, it says I'm wrong because I accidentally put in like maybe I forgot a parentheses or something like that. So I have to ask my teacher to evaluate to make sure that because maybe if I have the answer correct, it's just that the computer may be like messing up or something like that, and it just doesn't know because I didn't put a parentheses behind the one number or something like that. So it's kind of frustrating if you let a computer take over the classroom and you don't know if you're correct or not because based off of if the technology is messed up or something.
Okay. Giante?
Oh yeah, going off based on what Armani said, it's like a computer. If I could imagine it grading an essay, I'm pretty sure it would just look for grammar mistakes and like different types of things like that. When if I'm writing an essay, I would need it. A human can process like the mood and the tone and how I'm writing. A computer really wouldn't be able to understand that unless it's like really intelligent. But I would need like a teacher with the experience to really understand where I'm coming from. Especially if that teacher kind of knows me like a little bit of a personal level, they would understand what I'm getting at and what I'm writing at. Whereas the computer would be just looking for like little mistakes. It wouldn't really understand what I'm saying.
Want to chime in?
I think computers are better when grading like multiple choice because there's one set answer. And with writing essays, like even if your answer is wrong, as long as you have information to back up what you're trying to say, your teacher can always like interpret what you're trying to get at.
Okay. You guys do know, and you probably will experience this, and as you move further in your educational experiences, that in colleges they do have computers grade essays, and the reason they do that is for plagiarism purposes. So it when you have to do the citations and things of that nature, on college campuses now, I'm not sure whether you guys have been hearing, we have a lot of universities and these athletes who are now plagiarizing things and keeping it moving so they can stay on the different sports teams and things of that nature. So that's why I brought that question forth to you guys, because that is going to be an aspect of college that you're going to have to adjust to, because the colleges is so many massive children there that one teacher doesn't have the opportunity to grade all those particular papers. So they put them into a machine or a computer, and the computer dissects it and see whether this particular person who took it last semester or things of that nature, so they'll know. So moving forward, you should get accustomed to that. In colleges, that's what they do now. They put your essays and things of that nature, or when you're applying to go to a college and you have to write an essay and things of that nature, they send that to the computer to make sure that you're not using somebody else's context clues, as you said, or somebody else's words. It's actually your words and things of that nature. So that's the reason why I asked that question, that how do you guys feel about the computer grading your essay. It's going to happen, friends, when you go to college, because again, the university's teacher doesn't have that amount of time to grade every college essay per student and things of that nature. Does anyone else want to chime in on that, or should we move further?
Move further.
Okay, sounds great to me. Do you all perform better when you're competing or when you're collaborating?
I definitely feel like there's pros and cons to both. When you're collaborating in a group, you can get different inputs, different perspectives, you can learn from one another, but I also feel like there's benefits when it comes to healthy competition. So I run track at practice. Ayana runs with me, and we push each other, especially when we're doing like a really hard workout. I'm like, come on, Ayana, let's go. If she's in front of me, she'd be like, come on, Aura, let's go. We push each other, and I also want to come first. She also wants to come first, so we're pushing each other to our greatest ability. Yeah.
Correct.
So I feel like there's definitely pros and cons to both, or pros to both.
Okay. You got something to chime in on? No? Anybody else?
I agree with what she said, basically.
Okay. Anybody else? Question is, do you perform better when you're competing or when you're collaborating?
I think it is better when you're competing.
Well, I look at it this way. When you're in a classroom setting, you're all competing.
Very true.
Okay?
Very
So do you take it as a challenge to compete? Or do you take it as a challenge, I'd rather do working with another student? I heard a teacher say the other day, she was talking to her students, and she said, some of you guys only got grades or good grades because you collaborated with someone else. You didn't do it for yourself. So you probably wouldn't have got the grade if you would have did it by yourself in comparison to collaborating with someone else to get that particular done.
I feel like if you do things by yourself, you'll have a better understanding of it. Like working in a group can be beneficial because you can hear other people's ideas, but at the same time, like if you know the content and you work on it by yourself, it'll make you like understand it better.
Okay. Healthy competition. It's a great thing that you said, healthy competition. And in a classroom setting, how is a healthy competition manufactured? I mean, how does that come about? How do you know that you're in a healthy competition?
You can you should be able to feel it, the vibe that everybody gives off in the classroom, because if you just walk in, you just feel a bad vibe. It's just okay, this is not healthy at all.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable, and that's some people do feel uncomfortable with bad vibes. But when you have other people, like you said, healthy competitions with good vibes, you're working in a better environment, not only for yourself but for others too, and it's good for the teacher as well because no problems will happen.
Absolutely. Anybody else want to have anything to say about healthy competition?
Just to go based off of that, I think a healthy competition will more so you like she said, you can just feel that it's not more so pressurized. It's if you still are competing, you're still doing good. It's not a life or death situation, whether or not, or I need to be first, or if I get last, it's the end of the world. It's okay, if you try it, you still get a gold star for trying.
Right. Do you guys know each other? Some of you?
Yeah.
Okay, somewhat. I'm sure you're the ninth grader. You're the baby of the bunch, but it's okay. But pretty much you guys have intersected with each other in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know a couple of you guys are BFs, things of that nature, and some of you guys are just competitively challenged towards each other and things of that nature. I say that because, you must strive to excel on the court or the field or whatever. So in you guys' relationships, do you ever say to a person, or when you're in a classroom and you hear that this particular person is a 4.35 grade point average, and you say to yourself, what are they doing that I'm not doing?
All the time.
All the time. That's
Okay.
frustrating.
So is that a healthy competition? That's what I mean, healthy competition. What are they doing that you're not doing? Are you not applying yourself as much as they are, or they just have it?
I do this all the time to myself. I beat myself up over little stuff because my parents are like, you just overthink stuff, and I do it a lot. When it comes to applying to colleges, scholarships, or when I'm taking a test like the SAT, which is a very competitive test because everybody's trying to get into college. So for me, it's okay, wow, they have a 1,160 and I have a 910 or something like that. And it makes me feel okay, well, what am I not doing that they are doing? So it's a kind of like, okay, let me search for what is the problem that I need to fix so that I can get on their level. But then sometimes teachers are like, well, here's so-and-so's essay, and here's your so-and-so, and here's your essay. And that happened to me one time in class. She was like, well, this person, they're trying to get themselves to a 5, and you're still trying to get yourself to a 4. And I don't think she was trying to cross the line on it, but it just kind of like, I was like, oh, like she's trying to compare me to somebody else. And it made me feel belittled, because I'm like, okay, I want to get to that level, but you need to show me, like, okay, you need to get to their level, instead of like, okay, well, this person, I don't want to know that they're trying to get higher. I
Right.
need to get myself to that level. You know what I'm saying?
Has anybody else experienced that was something that's similar like that?
Well, I haven't experienced that per se, but I feel like I'm sorry.
Lost your thought?
Yeah,
It's all good.
Quick
Take your time.
second. Oh yeah, so healthy competition, yes. So even though it's good to compete, we are all equipped with different talents, different strengths. We all have different experiences, and it's important to remember that what somebody else is striving for, you necessarily, even though you're all going or all striving to go to a great place in your life, it's good to understand that there's different levels. So even though somebody may be really talented in mathematics, they may be getting straight A's all the time, they may be shooting for, the #1 spot in the class, maybe you're not, that equipped in, that field, so you may be shooting for a B, and that's still okay, because that's your personal best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so-
I can understand that mindset. You just want to be able to be to achieve
Right.
inside the classroom. You don't want to not achieve, because you don't pass in that situation. All right, so let's move on to another favorable topic, and that is this: are you guys distracted by technology? Does technology distract you at
I'm gonna be
all?
honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about that a little bit, about how technology distracts you from actually probably getting that 5 instead of that 4.
One thing is social media, probably.
It's like,
Yeah.
if it's so handy, it's like it's always there. It's kind of like having, like, I don't know, like a child with you almost. It's like, your phone is in your pocket. You want to check, especially if you can feel it vibrating. Twitter's lit. You gonna be like, oh, let me go see what's trending. And then you're distracted. You look up, the teacher got done explaining all the directions, you lost. So it's like, in a way, it does distract you. But then again, it is also helpful too. I guess it just depends on the person as how you want to use that great tool, because we got a whole computer in our pocket. So it just depends on the person, really, how much they can process.
Jade, I want to get your feedback, because you're the young one on the panel. So I want to talk to you a little bit about technology, because it seems to be more prevalent for the younger population of students on being really distracted by things as far as bullying, what's trending as far as someone trying to take your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever situation. There's so many different issues what comes with this cell phone and this social media. So I want you to be able to chime in a little bit and tell me your experiences about, are you distracted by technology at all?
I was.
Okay, was.
Until last quarter's report card, I was not happy with those grades. My phone stays in my purse. I don't touch it, because if I do, it's over with. My attention span is gone. There's no paying attention. So I keep my phone in my purse, and I take my notes, and I focus on my grades and my work, because if I pull out my phone, there's no going back.
About you?
I feel like sometimes we can get distracted by technology, but if we didn't have it, there's a lot of things in the classroom that we wouldn't be able to do. And sometimes teachers will say, oh, well, if you don't understand this term, pull out your phone and Google it. So sometimes you do need that technology, but we can get distracted by it, and we also know how to put it away and focus.
Okay. Ayana, you want to expound upon that?
Well, technology, it does distract me. So sometimes if a teacher is saying something that I really don't understand, I'll just go straight to my phone. Not only, it's not to be disrespectful towards them, but it's just okay, I don't find this interesting at all. Let me just look up and see if there's a different way that it's explained.
Could be done. Okay.
Because some teachers they explain certain topics, and it's just okay, I don't understand it. What are you trying to say? and you'll have like a one-on-one conversation with them, and it's just still not clicking. Like, but when you go to your phone and you look it up, and it's just like, ooh,
It's right there.
like it's right there, like,
Okay.
and it just sparks your interest. But technology, it does come in handy. It is distraction, but at some certain point of time, people do have their limitations on when to cut it off and when it's time to get serious.
Okay. You made a valid point, Deontay, about, because I believe most teachers, they explain to you in the beginning of the class, they give you an overview on what the class is going to be about or what they're going to be teaching today. But if you're so encompassed with what's happening in that little pocket computer of yours, then you miss
Yeah,
what needs to be done for you and things of that nature. So that distraction in itself. Are you in favor with of kids having phones in the school system? Is there one in favor of that?
I think it all just comes with like, you have to know how to limit yourself. You have to have
like in the
balance.
middle.
Like everybody's different. Everybody needs to learn that, because you can't just completely ban phones and then expect people not to, try to do what they want to do.
Like I saw a student watching Netflix one time in their classroom,
Netflix.
and and I was just like, all right, like, that's what we're doing now. So I mean, there's just little stuff like that. Like when I have my phone in class, for the most part, I try to focus, and if I need to pull it out and use it, I will. Or if there's some type of like, if my mom texts me or something, like I'll like respond to that when I can. So it just depends on how you utilize your time.
Got it.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say that maybe a ban of phones could be beneficial, because they've done it in the past before. There was a time where there were no phones. Even though times have changed, there was a time, and how often do we actually need our phones? We have computers in the classroom. If our teachers need, or if our parents need to contact us, they could call the school if need be. So I feel like it would do more good than harm.
Not having phones.
Not having phones.
Okay.
Yes, going on what you said, I don't know. I feel like
I agree with that too.
Yeah,
like it's like a both. I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I
yeah,
can see
but
the
certain
benefits,
people-
but I feel like that would do
Yeah.
more good than harm.
I
Yeah.
feel like when you're in a classroom, like how I was talking about, like when teachers are talking about like certain topics, some teachers like they'll have like on a smart board and it's just slides and you'll just write down notes. I feel like in order for us as young adults to get off of our phones during class, I feel that we should do like more hands-on works with like certain topics.
Correct.
Especially if it's like about like in science class, like chemicals or building or technology or like music, anything. It can like go with any subject if you can. It can go with any subject, but I just feel like more hands-on and actually moving around could get the brain more working instead of just sitting down in classroom like during the whole entire period and then just taking down
I
notes.
hate it.
And
I don't like
Some
taking-
people, we even like
If
take a
we-
screenshot of
Yeah.
the
like they'll take pictures like of
and
the
they'll just do it
notes
when they
and
get home.
everything.
Because like when you're taking notes and they're just like sitting there talking, like you have like a PowerPoint, like a slideshow, I get really bored with it, and that's why like in AP Bio with my teacher Miss Dubeck, she does a really good job with explaining stuff to us, and she also
Yes, she does.
she also like when we don't just copy like the board, like we actually like listen to what she says, and like she makes it like relatable to us versus like most teachers, they kind of just give you a slideshow or just like say here, take notes, or they'll already have like something and you have to like fill in the blank or something. That's not going to help me learn.
Right. So she's teachers like that are engaging, bring you a part of the lesson, makes it that much more fun. Let's move on. What do you all do or when you encounter obstacles to get to success? Deontay.
I usually, if I can see an obstacle, I usually try to identify the issue. I try to find out where this obstacle came from. And then once I diagnose that, I try to find out several different routes how I can go around that, because there's always a solution to every problem. So when I do see a problem ahead, I'm like, okay, now I know, let me identify it, let me find out where this came from, let me find out how it can never happen again once I find a way around the issue.
Okay, Jada.
What was the question?
What do you do when you encounter obstacles to get to success?
Before, I used to just completely quit because
Thank you for your honesty.
who wants to deal with that?
Right.
But now I kind of wait until I get home, and then I just like I think about it. I'm just like, okay, what can I do to get over it? because you can't quit.
Right.
Because then you get grades like 5 C's and 3 A's, and that's not cute.
No. Monty?
Kind of what she was saying, because I did used to like beat myself up, but now that I'm a senior, because from my freshman year to my senior year, it's like a whole different story. So I see myself when I find myself in a predicament, or like I find myself against like an obstacle, I try to ask other people. Like my sister, she's a math major, and I used to have a problem with math. So if I have a problem with math, or I have a problem with a question in my math class, I'll go to her because she's a math major. So it's basically like, what is my resources? Who can I go to that can help me be more successful than I am right now?
Okay.
With me, I'm gonna be honest. I am a horrible decision maker.
Okay.
When it comes to like outfits, I'll say, should I wear this or this? And I have to I'll ask my friends. Like I used to be bad at that. Over time, I've gotten better with it, and it just knowing that I can think for myself, like that's a really important thing to like have as a person, like to have a mind for yourself. So when I have an obstacle, like I usually just go home, or even not even go home. Like if I'm at school and something happens, I'll have to like take a step back, sit down and breathe. Okay. Coloring helps me a lot. I love coloring.
Mm-hmm.
Coloring makes me like, it just clears my mind. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I just have to like sit back and breathe, and just like I think too much. So I try not to think about it, but at the same time I think about it, and I write down little notes about how I'm feeling. Like I have a journal, like I write down my feelings and how I feel. Like it may sound corny, but it does help me. Like it just, sometimes you have to.
To each one teaches one.
Yep.
Alexis?
Yeah.
I think it's okay for everybody to understand that if you're trying your best, you're trying your best, and that if you just go headstrong at any obstacle that you face, you can always overcome it and go to the source, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a friend that's stopping you from getting your work done, or anything. You can always overcome that, but it's always okay to just try your best.
R?
For success, I definitely try to look for help. Yeah, for me personally, trying to do things by myself normally doesn't really work out if like I've reached an obstacle. So I try to, if it's like with school, my parents are very educated, I go to them. If it's with like a friend or something, I can go to another friend who, is like a mediator.
Right.
If it's like with sports, I can talk to my brother. Yeah, I try to find people who have expertise, who can really guide me and help me in whatever the problem may be, so I can overcome it.
Gotcha. Ayana?
Well, to get over like the obstacles, you just have to find out like what the problem is and try to find a solution, what Deontay said and everything. Another thing that Jalen said, for me, I run to like, if I have like have problems going on and everything, I take a quick jog and everything, do some stretching just to clear my mind.
Right.
Only because I know it's like, okay, my thought is more clear now. I have like a better way of thinking and like finding better solutions. Also getting help is definitely a good way to conquer an obstacle, because you don't want to go through that same obstacle again. You just want to conquer right through it and just keep on going in order to succeed.
I like the mere fact that you all said that you seek help from some higher being.
I definitely think that
or some
when you're-
peer relation. You know what I mean? And that says a lot about you guys. What it means for you. Moving on to another question. That was a great topic to hear you guys' perspective. What are some sources for information about colleges and universities that you guys take? And before you answer that, do you know what college you're going to yet?
I do not know what college.
Does anyone know what college they're going to yet as a senior?
I've applied
Kind of,
to
yeah.
those
Yeah.
colleges,
Kind
like
of.
the ones I've already
Still looking
applied to.
All right. So how did you guys go about receiving information about college and university? Is it just through the guidance counselor, or is it something that you're doing for yourself?
So with me, I'm a junior, so I'm still looking at colleges right now, and I'm already like kind of starting ahead of time with planning out and stuff. First people I go to is my parents, because they both have been to college. They give me good resources, and that's basically what I do.
Okay.
And I also research on my own time. So
All right. So we're all in unison with that. You go and find, you're on your own. You don't use the guidance counselors as a way to get information about colleges and university.
Well, from my personal
I use
experience,
it.
my guidance counselor was a lot of help.
Okay.
Like for Miss Sawicki, like she was amazing from her fast pace and email to her open door policy. Like I did do a lot of research on my own, but any questions I needed, Miss Sawicki was always there. I know y'all said guys didn't help y'all, but for me, Miss Sawicki did help me a lot. So.
Okay. And I guess from you guys, several of you guys are STEM. So I guess you have a different approach on how you're going about college and who you seek information, whether it be Mr. Forrester, Ms. Ladd, Dr. Jackman. I mean, who are your sources of information, people that you go about trying to get information from? Or are they at all?
I would say Miss Canterbury, like if I have like any problems or anything, she's like the first person I email, like out of everybody in the STEM office. I'll be like, Miss Canterbury, I don't understand this. Can you like help me out? She'll respond back to my email within to like 5 and 10 minutes, and she'll be like, I'll write you down the pass. You can come down to my office, and then she'll help me figure out like what college I want to go to and what I want to strive for. So far, like in majoring and everything when you go off to college, but I use the guidance counselor. That's like the first person I go to for everything, and then I'll go to my parents because both of my parents, they didn't go to college, so it's just like they don't understand, like they didn't get to live the college life or anything because they started as young adults at an early age, so they didn't get to experience that. But with my mom, she'll be like, oh, like she's like starting school now, but she'll be like, oh, you have to do this now, like you have to be on top of everything,
Right.
because once you fall back, then everything is just going to start trailing back.
Well, I'm pretty sure, because my son is 24 years old, and there are things that I learned from him, from this new generation, and there are things that I just don't understand that what they've been doing in college and in high school, and I'm sure your parents probably feel the same way. I didn't take that. There's no way in the world we took that type of subject and things of that nature. So for me to be able to explain to you what it is that they need to be able to help you guys out with. So a lot of times you guys are really helping your parents out nowadays in comparison if you got younger siblings and things of that nature. You're putting yourself in a position that you can actually give them more experiences now than they were able to give you when you were growing up. Okay? Well, I'd like to thank you guys for taking part in this student forum. We touched on a variety of different topics, from whether a computer should be judging your essay, should we be able to evaluate teachers, how do we go about receiving information and resources from colleges and universities. Once again, I'd like to thank you guys for coming out and partaking into our Pass It On segment of this student forum. We will put this up on our school website and our YouTube page. Once we finish editing it, we will let you guys know so you guys can go check it out and you can pass it on. Pass it on is about pass it on. That's what it's about. You know, this show was created for situations like this to pass on information to someone else, so it could be looked at as a measuring tool for up and coming seniors and someone like Jada and Jalen, who's going to be a senior next year. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming out. You're more than willing to shake hands with each other, especially if you don't know them, but I'm going to shake your hand. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Extend yourself. Okay? And once again, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and energy. So once again,
Talk about that. Kids not going to class on time.
Right.
hey, listen,
Yes,
you know what? How do you guys feel about kids not going to class on time?
Frustrating because it looks bad.
And
on
it's
all of us.
and then it punishes the whole school, like the no nighttime thing. Like they were like, I don't were they like threatening to take it away or something?
Yes.
Yeah, because kids didn't want to go to nighttime.
That's not everyone's fault. I get it, but they should just punish those kids and like suspend them. I don't know, do something. They
Well,
should.
I have, I have an opinion on that from the standpoint that you're absolutely right. 90% of kids are doing the right thing. Okay, that 10%, that's 200 kids out of 2,000 kids in the building. So 90% of kids are doing the right thing, but that 10% that isn't, that's 200 kids. So what do you do with those 200 kids that can't seem to find something of interest? Goes back to what we were talking about. Are you in healthy competition by not going to class. I don't think that's healthy, okay? Not finding a location or a place to go to try to improve yourself doesn't look like that you want to be successful. So the flip side, we all know who those particular students are. We just roll with the punches and we accept them as it is, okay? I'm not going to delay you guys no further. I want you to move on to your second period class. But again, once again, I'd like to thank you guys for coming out to pass it on. And once again, as I was saying, when we edit this particular portion of it, I will send it out to you guys and you guys can pass it on to, and it's gonna be another opportunity to put it on your college resume. I chose you guys just because college people want to see what your experiences are and what your communication skills are on a variety of different topics. So when I chose this, I chose that for this particular purpose and reason. So again, I want to thank you guys for coming out, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to Pass It On, and we'll see you in about a week or so. Until then, take care.
We bring the light to those who don't know. Pass it on, pass it on.
Yeah, we all the students, yeah, we pledge to unite. With no county pride, yeah, we pledge to the night. Students who stay successful, time to celebrate. Just because we all engage, explore and elevate. Students serving students, always keep it good. Where brotherhood and sisterhood always understood. From each and every cup, each honor society, we achieve better together as a variety. Doors to our future, you know that we gotta take it. Obstacles we face it, you know that we gotta make it. We always solve a problem to create opportunities, carrying a way of life while we serving our communities. We all were created to create our own path. Try science, technology, engineering, and math. Yeah, thanks to our sports teams, boosting our ambition. We can be doctors, musicians, and politicians, yeah.
Pass it on, pass